I'm the Notorious B.I.E. and this is my boy Polly G.
How's everybody doing?
Yeah, and this may be our Christmas episode.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, are we going to film in the next 2 weeks? I don't know. We might not. So this could be it.
Cool.
So Merry Christmas, if that is indeed the case. So
either way, Merry Christmas, right?
Yeah.
'Tis the season.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. There's a little fidget spinner action for you. So, anyway, yeah. So how you been, Paul?
Good. I was really sick last week.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, which is why we did not do the show. I don't know, maybe it wasn't good for you either, but I got really sick.
I had a cold all last week,
Oh,
too.
that's right.
I had a bad cold.
But I'm doing way better now.
That's fantastic. So yeah, I don't know. I mean,
how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Everything's perfect. Everything's exactly the way it should be.
That's awesome. That is a great attitude to have.
Yeah, it is. So, I don't know. You know, there's Israel Hamas going on, I guess.
That's definitely not perfect.
No, it's not.
That's a big mess.
Yeah. Well, now I hear, like, what is it, Venezuela's invading Guyana or something like that.
Whoa, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. Everyone's just, like, it's becoming a free-for-all.
Well, that's awful.
Yeah. But it's funny that, like...
Guyana's just a tiny little country.
Yeah. They found oil there, apparently.
Oh.
Venezuela wants the oil.
Wow.
I don't know.
Sheesh.
There's always some reason that someone's doing something bad. But I think it's funny, though, how... And I guess it makes sense, just how, like, everyone has to take sides all the time. Like, and that's, I mean, it's just, it makes sense because, like, that's just how we've been for the last, like, few years. It's like...
Everything's divided.
Yeah, we're divided. And it's like, oh, well, if there's something, then, like, we have to take this side and you have to take that side. Or vice versa. Like, we each have to have a side. And it's like, do we really? Like...
Yeah, I don't see the conflict in Israel and Palestine being like that. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I don't think it needs to be like that. Let's put it that way. I think you can just say, wow, that's a big mess.
Right.
You know, and they're both fighting over land. Like, how about if they both stop caring about land, you know?
I hope they work it out.
I don't think it necessarily has to be one person's right, or one country's right and one country's wrong, or one group of people or whatever.
Right. But I mean...
I think they can both decide they don't want to fight anymore.
Yeah.
I think that's the right thing.
Yeah. But
Hamas is, like, determined to destroy them. So then I feel like they have every right to defend themselves and to fight if that's what they're doing. If Hamas is going to try to destroy everybody, I don't think they're in the wrong for fighting back, you know, for defending themselves. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a mess.
I mean, say, like, the U.S. was invaded, right? You know, and like, they had superior numbers, and they took us over or whatever. Like when I think of terrorism, it's like, okay, like, if you don't have numbers, you're gonna resort to, like, terrorist tactics to some degree, right? I mean, like there are lines, like you don't, like, you know, you don't rape women, you don't, like, kill women and children, you know what I mean?
But that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, on the news yesterday morning, I heard this report that was just so awful. They warned you it was going to be awful, and I listened to it anyway, and oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So awful about raping women and killing them.
Right.
Really awful.
Yeah. But that's the weird thing, though, is, like, so right now in the United States, it seems to be like if you're on the right, you support Israel, and if you're on the left, you support Palestine to some degree.
Oh, really?
Well, because like, and this is why, like, it seems to me like the left always says they just basically say, oh, if this person's a minority, then we're with them, right? Like, period. And it's like, okay, well, but then you get into problems, right? where you're like, okay, so Palestinians are the minority or whatever. They're oppressed. So we support the Palestinians. Well, okay, but now you're supporting like terrorism, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think it's that cut and dried.
Yeah, it's not. It's not that cut and dried, and it's like you can't just be like. But I mean, I don't know. People like to make things simple. So it's like, oh, well, if this, then this. Okay, cool. And then they just like,
Yeah, I think you get into a lot of problems when you try to simplify everything into black and white and right and wrong. And there are things that are black and white and right and wrong, but there are a lot of other things that aren't.
yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah. Especially politics, I guess. Like, politics is very gray.
messy.
It's messy. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. But
This is our Christmas episode.
yeah, it is. Yay. Yeah, yes. No, I don't know. I mean, I guess the world's supposed to like go to hell in a handbasket and then get better. I guess, right? I don't know though. I wonder about like like prophecies and things like that. It's like people have interpreted them certain ways, but it's like, are they really gonna shake out exactly the way people think they are? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
No.
I mean, if they did, it would be. I think it would be like too easy to be like, oh, well, this is, oh, well, that's the mark of the beast. Like, how many times have you been like, oh, well, this is the mark of the beast? And it's like, well, okay, it could be, but like,
I think it's good to keep your eyes open, but it's also good to be humble to realize you don't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
And there are things where I'm like, yeah, I mean that's the main thing is like you can look at things and say, okay, we're in the last days, we're in the last times, the end times, right? So that's basic. That's really all you can like. Yeah, I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, am I like, well, the moon's gonna turn to blood. So did that happen already? Right? Like there was a blood moon on last year on this date and blah and all this stuff, right? And it's like, okay, maybe was that the moon turning to blood? I don't know. Right? Does it matter?
Yeah.
So I don't know. There are people that just like get into that stuff, and I'm like,
I have a relative, an in-law who grew up in a family where they were so focused on it's the end of the world that they basically didn't plan for anything like 10, 20 years in the future because they were so focused on it's going to happen soon.
Right.
And so then it's like,
why
go to college? Why
right.
put money in the bank?
Because everything's going to end like tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because they've been saying that for centuries. Everybody's been thinking it's the end of the world for centuries.
Yeah.
Which I understand that it makes sense if people centuries ago didn't think it was and they thought, oh, we can just do whatever we want to. But also, you don't want to cut off your nose to spite your face,
Right.
Don't be so focused on that you're kind of missing out on,
life. Yeah.
Yeah, like my parents my kids were able to go to college for free because my parents made a college account for them, and so
Mm-hmm.
at least my daughter's already graduated, and there's actually money left over. So I mean, you still want to plan for the future because we don't know when it's going to happen. You don't want to just say,
Yeah.
I'm just going to buy a bunch of guns and hole up in my cellar and
Yeah.
and wait. That's not productive or healthy.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there are people that spend a lot of time and energy on preparation, and it's like,
and that's good to an extent.
It's good to an
But you don't want it to be like that's your entire focus and you're
right.
Ignore everything else. Like
my wife and I had this conversation the other night. So she's very much like into preparation, right? And I'm more into like, well, so we had this conversation. This was the conversation. So I sleep in my underwear, and she was like, why don't you wear pajamas? Like, and I'm like, because like I want to be comfortable or whatever. She's like, well, what if like the house caught on fire and we had to run outside, and you'd be in your underwear? And right? And I was like, yeah, I guess I would. And she's like, well, like, see, like that, like bothers her,
You could throw a robe on.
But I would, maybe, and yeah, I was like, well, maybe I could grab something. But even if I didn't, I'm like, look, I'd rather have like 100 like comfortable nights sleeping than like,
sleep uncomfortably
my entire life.
And your house never burned down anyway.
Yeah, and maybe that one instance happens, right? Like, so that's kind of the way.
Seems to me like if your house burns down, you being outside in your underwear is the least of your problems.
Right.
I think the main thing is your house burned down.
Yeah.
And people would probably be like, "Oh crap, that poor guy."
Someone would probably give me a blanket or something.
Exactly.
Whatever. I mean, so that's the difference between my wife and I. Like, that's the way that perfectly encapsulates how we see the world, the two of us. So it's kind of funny, but anyway.
Preparation is definitely important.
Yeah.
Because if you're prepared, then you can relax and then you can enjoy your life.
Sure.
So it's a balance, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm all about. Trying to have a happy balance between different things. Kind of like you were saying before, like instead of like one extreme or the others, like have a balance.
Right. Like.
So be prepared, but also like enjoy life and be ready for, be looking 10, 20 years down the road as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we need to have balance, I guess, is the moral of today's video.
This wasn't very Christmassy.
No, not really.
That's okay.
Do you want to say anything Christmassy?
Maybe
have a holly jolly Christmas. Da 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 da. Yeah, that. Here, are you getting your kids anything? Here's my thing with Christmas, is that like I have no idea what to get my kids. Like all of our kids. So my youngest is 12, and we have like on up to like a 21-year-old or whatever, right? So they all have phones, and it's like, what do you get kids these days? Like everything they want is on their phone, basically. Like they don't need, you know what I mean? When we were kids, it's like, oh, I wanted CDs, music CDs, or I wanted like a stereo system, or you know what I mean?
Right.
And kids don't need any of that stuff now. They've got their phone, they have the music on their phone,
video games,
got games on their phone, movies on their phone, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I don't even know what to get people these days.
Clothes.
Yeah, I mean, you can get them clothes. That's kind of boring. But,
a book?
Maybe a book.
I want a scarf for Christmas.
You want a scarf?
Yeah, I get really cool around my neck.
Okay. So if you're shopping for Polly G, there you go. My brother-in-law got me a huge scarf like a couple years ago.
Did you ever wear it?
I did for like a year. Like after I got it, I'm like, well, I should wear this, and I did, and it was all right. But then like, then summer came, and I like forgot about it, and then like winter came again, and I was like, I didn't wear it anymore. Like I was just like, oh yeah, I have that scarf, but like, yeah.
That's true. I got a scarf a long time ago, and then I thought it was cool when I first got it, and then I stopped wearing it. Now I don't know where it is anymore, and now I'm cold around my neck again.
Yeah. Anyway, Merry Christmas. I hope you have a great one. And if we do another video, then I'll just have to say it again.
And that's okay. You can say Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
All December.
Yeah. Be excellent to each other. It's that time of year. Don't be like Israel and Palestine.
But
they're not Christians, so I mean, I guess we can't expect them to.
We're a good example.
I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm offending Jewish people now. I'm sorry.
We're a good example of people who have a lot of differences, but we still get along.
Yeah.
We have a lot of things we don't see eye to eye on.
Yeah.
But
we don't really talk about those much on this show. And that's like how we stay friends, I guess, right? Like we just talk about like things we have in common.
Yeah, exactly. But I still think we bring up important issues that we might not necessarily agree exactly on and see different perspectives on it, though.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
There you go.
Yeah. So live in peace and harmony, like the BIV and Polly G. Namaste. Have a great Christmas, and love you guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Take care. Bye-bye.
It might be the new year. It might not.